What's up, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you alongside Mr. Alec and EB holding up the bottom square for us. We might have a couple pop-ins throughout the rest of the show, but for now it's just the tremendous trio starting this baby off. And you've seen a little bit of shuffling over the past couple weeks with YSN and especially the Power Hour, but I'll say this is everybody seems to be filling into the slots very nicely. You guys had a great show yesterday. Billy Mack, obviously the bad guy on that show because he kind of, in running it back and talking to some people watching the show, he kind of called out YSU a little bit, but kind of was able to back it up. So awesome to see everybody kind of doing their thing, and I appreciate everybody stepping into roles they're not particularly used to. But for the betterment of everybody at home, and for those of you who are really what the show is about, for those of you trying to get it through the day and get updated and make it through the rest of your day here from 3 to 4, or to get you at least to that last hour of the day. So, EB, what's popping your way, brother?
A lot of basketball stuff, man. That's about it. Tournaments, every which way you look.
Do you enjoy this part of the year more than the high school part? Or is it kind of level? Is it even keel? Is it kind of equal in your eyes?
It's kind of equal. There's different things that I like about each. Like AAU, I like because, I've been with these girls probably longer, and it's always cool to see these kids come from different schools, different backgrounds, and then come together to play. And they're all there because they want to get better. They have a certain direction that they want to take this. And, high school I like because, one, I like my team and just the camaraderie and kind of the culture we have. And it's just fun to be with those girls day in, day out. We're always looking to push ourselves and get better. And it's not that the AAU girls aren't, but these AAU girls, they're doing this, I guess, by choice and also because they want to be there. So it's weird because there's just a different energy to both, but I enjoy both energies. Like AAU is more of a controlled chaos to where high school basketball is it's a lot more controlled.
And I can respect that. I think there's a lot of people that understand the difference between the two, and you're not really – so more or less, you're not surprising anybody. And look who joined the show. Mac and Quinn have made it into the Boardman press box. So they are getting things ready to go for their game today. Gentlemen, welcome aboard. How are things?
Good. I went around here and started knocking doors down. I mean, knocking on doors just to get in here. So we're in, baby. We're ready for the Holy War tonight. So.
We appreciate Boardman and the Field of Dreams for accommodating us once again. So special thanks to the crew out there making it possible, and thanks to you, Billy, for knocking down doors for us.
Yeah, it's a figure of speech.
Alec, what's going on with you, brother?
I'm getting excited. One of my favorite days of the year is 9 days away in the NFL draft. I mean, I look forward to that every year because I'm a big NFL football guy, and in the off season it's a struggle sometimes. Getting to crawl through waiting, and it's a day of hope. Hoping that my Steelers draft well.
Very interesting. Do you feel like the Steelers are going to have to do well in the draft in order to put a good product on the field next year, or do you think this is just building for the future?
Well, with Ben coming back, you gotta build for him, unless they're just waiting him out to retire. But we had a number 32 rushing offense last year. You got to put a line there. You got to get a running back in there and depth at cornerback, linebacker. It's
a whole lot of pieces. I mean, keep naming some stuff there. I like that.
Oh, are you going to root for the Browns this year? Or?
We'll see. We will see.
Yeah, okay. It was an interesting picture you put up on Facebook earlier today about the Yankees fan that's now a Mets fan.
Right. So the idea is to continue to troll Betos about the Yankees stinking. So like anything that the Yankees stinks, whether it's like, I don't know, a fan turning into a Mets fan, and I already knew where you were going to go with that. Don't really care. I'm not offended by it at all. It's anything that says negative about the Yankees because they stink, and the Pirates actually have a better record than the New York Yankees. So
you are not permitted to talk about the battle in Buccos. You split with them, Slam Diego.
we also have a better record than the Pirates, so we're good.
Tatis has more errors by himself than the Pirates as an entire organization right now.
It's obvious the fact that he was hurt, and he was playing hurt, he's been injured, and he's only played 7 games. Okay, there's 17 games out there. He's only played 7. Small margin. Talk to me in July.
That doesn't make sense. If he has more errors in 7 games than they have in 17, the ratio is kind of thrown off. Babyface, Billy. Let's go here.
It's only a small margin. It's the odds are gonna kick in, and he'll be fine. He'll play a whole bunch of games. And he won't have errors.
We're moving to 5.
We're moving to 5.
Are they moving you guys? All right. Well, enjoy that move.
No. They're moving our game to 5 o'clock instead of 4:30.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I thought they were moving you to the field 5.
No. I tried to mute it so you wouldn't get all of it.
That would have sucked. Seidel says 7 games, 7 errors. So that's. I mean, he's on his way to 162. So
well, he had 7 errors in 3 games. So I mean, starting to even out. We're good.
Is that how that goes?
Yeah, he's just going to play the next 40 games without making a mistake, and he'll be fine.
Okay, we'll lock you. We'll talk to you in July about that.
That's all I'm asking. Just talk to me in July about it. That's all I'm asking. That's all I can ask for.
Interesting. Quinn, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm not as cold out here. Billy's hot air coming out of his mouth is keeping me warm, so I'm pretty happy.
This guy's putting everything together.
Great day.
He's 2 feet away from you, and he's not afraid to throw jabs. That's awesome. All right, so let's get to well, there they go. We may never see Quinn again. Let's get to the National Lookalike Day. That is today, Tuesday, April 20th, 2021, National Lookalike Day. Let's go to Billy. Who do you look like? Who do you look like?
I'll tell you,
Mr. Clean.
So I will say, he's such an idiot. So people have said Roberto Perez looks similar to me. So that's when I have a beard. Not today because I'm freshly shaved up, but there's pictures on the web. I posted them before, so that's who I would say people say I look like. Me, I have no idea. I look like the great one.
The great one? Like The Rock?
Just me, the great one.
Oh. I didn't realize.
It's very warm in here, just so you know.
He's young Santa Claus today. Look at him with his red on, his beard.
Why are you going to make fun of him with that sweet hat? That hat
I got to go get mine now in the car.
Yeah. See?
My hat is awesome. Thank you.
Oh, Jesus.
Quinn's hat's awesome. Your hat's pretty nice, too. I'm a big fan of Quinn's hat. Quinn, who do you think Billy looks like, other than Mr. Clean?
I don't know. Mr. Clean, that's the one I went with. That's the most realistic.
This is the one that I've seen before and I've heard, so we'll get your opinions. Here we go.
So, I am inevitable.
You are inevitable. There's no doubt about that. If you jumped into purple Jello, you would look just like Thanos. So, Quinn, who do you look like?
I don't know who I look like other than an ass, to be honest with you.
That's fair.
I don't know. Some of you guys have told me I look like Baker, but I don't see it. So
nobody here has said you look like Baker.
Somebody said I did. Baker. I don't think I do, but somebody said I did. I don't know.
Baker who?
The one that you don't like.
Quinn says, everybody says I look like Baker Mayfield. I said, who said you look
nobody says it looks like Baker. Everybody says I look like Baker, but nobody's ever said
Shut up, Mr. Clean.
As many people said he looks like Baker, said Quinn also looks like Steve Urkel. So, put that in perspective. So
I can agree with that.
Goose egg. Alec, who do you look like on National Lookalike Day?
Yeah, I never really been told that I look like anyone in particular, aside from just I look like that guy that they graduated way back when. No one could put a name to it, but everyone's just seen me at some point.
You're that guy?
I'm that guy, yeah.
All right, I can respect that.
I'm that guy. That's what I get a lot.
EB, how about you?
I mean, regularly I get a lot of, Justin Timberlake, Channing Tatum, I'm just a walking international sex symbol, if you haven't noticed. But I mean, I don't know who I look like. I've had in the college days when I had long hair, I was told Kellen Moore, but I think that's because of the hair. I often, and I'm not proud of this one, I've been mistaken for Chris Huxhold.
What?
It's generally when I'm wearing a mask. So, and I'm like, look, man, Chris Huxhold's got about 4 inches this way on me and 4 inches this way on me. So
That's it. I don't even know. I don't know. I've never seen him, but yeah.
But yeah,
Lucky Junior.
that just means Quinn's my bitch still. So
Wow. The one-liner. Quinn, send Ty the link. Here's mine. So I went a long time. Now, Michael McHenry from the Pirates, I don't know if you guys remember him or not. He was kind of that substitute catcher. I got a lot of that along the way. But this guy, the second baseman for the Atlanta Braves, I got this a lot. Here he is. Dan Uggla, the second baseman for the Braves. People say, and especially when he grew a beard out, they were like, that's Yoke. So apparently I look like
He was a good player. He was a pretty good player.
He had a mansion, and then up until 2015, and then he fell off. So apparently that's it. But when I had hair, when I lost my hair, I went for the whole Triple H look, and I don't have the nose for that. So let's get
or
to
the
some
body. The body
well,
might be.
that's debatable. Justin Timberlake.
Hey.
Let's get to some sports. One thing that, I loved your show yesterday. Billy, you did a hell of a job with it. But the one thing that I was interested that you didn't bring up, and I don't know if this was on purpose or not, but Evie, you and I kind of talked about it before. Over the weekend, there was a shooting, and
on purpose.
Yeah. So
I waited for you.
I appreciate that because this is one I really want to get into. That shooting happens. A lot of speculation. EB, like you and I talked about before the show. There's a lot of kind of back and forth going on about why and how, and naturally people are upset about it. But the first report that I read was a parent was mad over playing time and decided to shoot the coach, and I was like, you got to be better. Like, we just have to be better as a society. That playing time, no matter if it's in league or out of league, or like, that should never ever make you think, hey, I'm going to take a gun to a game and make them pay. But EB, you heard something different now the story kind of coming out a little bit more. What did you hear?
I heard from multiple different people, not only within my circle, but also some other ones, that the media had it backwards. It wasn't a parent shooting a coach. It was actually a coach defending himself because he was being jumped by multiple parents. As far as this coach was handicapped or in a wheelchair, got jumped by multiple different parents, and in self-defense actually shot at one of the parents. Now I don't know if they actually shot someone per se, hit the flesh or anything like that, but that was the story that I had, and that was coming straight from people who were at the actual site. So that's what I have. I'm not one to really consider throwing out reliable sources or anything like that, but when it comes directly from people who were there, I'm going to trust people who had eyes on the whole situation and actually the mouths of people who witnessed it all, opposed to what I saw. Obviously I heard about it. We had it going in our group chat and everything else, and I didn't get to read too much into it until Sunday. Nonetheless, these are sports. Like, this is for kids. So if it's whatever the situation that arose to bring it to this situation, for it to get that heated, I think you need to kind of check yourself, and you need to take a step back and look at your life in the mirror a little bit before you sit here and start to, you're not only setting a precedent for the youth or people that you're trying to mentor or help out, through sport, but also you might need to look at some things, whether you're attacking a coach or a coach attacking someone, no matter what the situation is. You know, you might need to reevaluate a couple of things.
So if you talk to see, this issue is deeper than just the incident itself. It's been going on for a long time. Is if you go around the league or not around the league, but you go around the valley and you talk to athletic directors, they all say the same thing. It is difficult to find coaches who want to stick around for programs because of this very reason. You know, a dear friend of mine, a family friend who's been an AD for a long time, just retired, spoke to me, and he was a really good basketball coach, and for years in the 80s, 90s, and into almost 2000, where he decided to just hang it up because he was over it. He was over the idea of being pushed around by parents, not being able to make decisions, and the idea of being threatened, life threatened, and that's kind of where he stopped. He just decided to go, well, I'm done. I'll just be an athletic director, and then I'll put my time in and I'll go home. And now you have issues where, you know, parents complain about coaches not being very good. Well, you're part of the blame. I'm sorry, and I don't care. You're part of the blame because you attack coaches, whether it's on Facebook and social media or this scenario, and it's getting out of control. At some point, the schools are going to go ahead and say, well, we're done. We're just not going to have sports, and that's the way it's going to be, and it's going to be all on the parents' fault, or at least mostly on the parents' fault because of issues like this coming up.
Brian chimed in asking, where was this at? This was at Sandusky, correct?
Yeah, this was up at the Cedar Point Sports Complex.
So, I mean, that's not far from home for us. And, you know, depending on where you're tuning in from, what is that, about 2 hours?
Yeah, 3 hours? I mean,
about 2.5 hours. Yeah.
For us, it'd be, I mean, I would consider that something regional to us. You know, that's definitely within our region. It's
two interesting points on the board. Alec, what's your take on this? Did you read at all about this, and what's your kind of breakdown of the situation?
This is the first time hearing about this. I didn't see anything about this. I haven't really looked at any news over the past week. I had a chaotic weekend, but like it's crazy that this happens in general, let alone over something as little as a disagreement with that could be worded better, but yeah, playing time exactly. And I don't know if that was the actual situation or if that's just what's being said, but it's crazy that is an idea that someone thinks like, oh, that's reasonable. But
I guess from my standpoint, when you look at this and you go, okay, what out of everything that could happen in the world, what would make me think about bringing a gun actively? You know, from the first part of the story, that's kind of what we started, and now it's completely flipped on its head. But I think it still applies. What would make you think about bringing a firearm to either defend yourself, and I'm all for concealed carry, don't get me wrong, but to open fire over playing time or over sports? Yeah. And EB, when you said that this coach got jumped, and he was handicapped, like, does it take more than one if you're in a situation like that where you're going to throw hands, it takes more than one of you to take advantage of a handicapped person? You shouldn't. I was taught you don't fight, period, unless you have to, right? You know, you do the karate. It's all self-defense. It's all this stuff. Unless your life is on the line and you feel attacked, literally, somebody throws a first punch, you don't do that. And then, why does the coach have a firearm? Sandusky, right. And this thing is relatively safe atmosphere, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, the answer to those questions, those are like kind of the $64,000 question. I don't know, man. Like
I could be wrong, but I believe there is a no concealed weapons permit allowed on the premise of that facility too. I believe that's accurate.
Meaning you can't.
Because I just signed up for a tournament there, and I did read some of the rules in there for at Cedar Point Complex, and I know I read somewhere in the rules that there is no firearms allowed, no pets, no firearms. Well, yeah, there'll be an armed guard there for the rest of the summer, no doubt.
But I can't imagine. Like, what? Again, if he's being jumped, hopefully he didn't hurt anybody. But like when you're up against it, man, like I get it, but what had to be said or done to start that? That's where I think the media, and everybody jumps on the media, and I listen, I get it. I have a degree in broadcast communications. We're part of the media technically. Everybody who's in media runs to the defense of media. This is a situation where I think the media lacks in asking the question of, okay, so why did it happen? We see that it happened, and we'll report that part. But why did it happen? Explain to me what happened, what transpired, what was said that constituted a bum rush on a coach that's handicapped, and then turn the coin over, he's shooting active rounds at people in a confined space, in a crowd, right? I'm assuming they're allowing a crowd there.
Well, yeah, and I mean, really, the biggest problem, the biggest issue, one, like you said, the media that reported it initially, whoever it was, clickbait. We need the clickbait, so we want the views. Secondly, you're right. They never ask why. Like why? What happened? What transpired? Thirdly, or lastly, like, the fact of the matter that it got to that point is the problem.
Yeah.
And that's the underlying problem. Everyone's going to look for the why. They're gonna go through their who, what, where, when, why. Their 5-question checkpoint. But the fact of the matter is, it got to that point, and that's the problem. And it's not just a problem in basketball, where yes, it happened at an AAU event. Go to any JO event, baseball event, football event, flag football, whatever it is that would be associated with a club, or hell, even high school sports. And you see, like, it's getting to a point that these, and I don't even want to say parents, because it's not necessarily parents, but just people in general, where you're so caught up in this situation. But yes, there's some big tournaments where it's for quote unquote national championships or blue chip recruits, to where they're going to the next level. But this is still a sport. Like, this is supposed to be extracurricular. Like, it's fun. This is a sport. We play a sport for fun. It's not life or death, and we're turning it to that point.
Paul's here we go. Hit the marker. First action news, Paul Munson. So the story is correct. Coach and parent got into an altercation inside the gym, continued outside while the coach was in his car. Coach fired a gun at parent, who has non-life-threatening injuries. Coach is being held on bond for $500,000. Okay, so when you take it to somebody's car, they're being threatened, right?
Yeah,
so,
that means you have to follow that person to that car.
Yeah,
and unless if you're sitting, your cars are parked next to each other. Still, if you're still in the door of that person's car, you have now invaded personal space.
Yep. And that's where it gets dicey, because you look at the concealed carry laws, and everybody feels threatened about everything. But again, the part of the story we're missing is why. What transpired during the game? Because Sundays are for championships. Am I wrong on that?
Right. So
it had to be something that transpired during the game of a championship caliber game, like a contending game, that this happened. And listen, I know that
it has to be playing time. Like that's the only thing that would really set a parent off in a game. I mean, or a cousin or a friend or somebody. That's the only thing that I could think of as an adult that would set him off to have an argument with the coach. Now, what was said during the argument could be a whole nother thing, right? I mean, we've all had conversations with parents, and for the most part, we've had enough experience to know when the situation's getting out of control to either walk away or tone it down and say, hey, let's deal with this another time. Let's talk about this somewhere else. Let's give each other some space. But somewhere in that conversation, personal things must have been said. You gotta imagine.
So let me ask you this question, Billy, while we're on this. Are we past the point of no return with parents and coaches in playing time?
Listen, I got a couple rules how I do things. The first thing that one of the best advice I've ever received from Fletcher was, when recruiting teams, it's you don't recruit talent, you recruit the kids, you recruit the character of the kids. You also have to dig in deep and have conversations with the parents and whoever's influencing the kid from an adult perspective, not the friends or anything like that. And we want to make sure the parents are good people. right? As best as you can. Obviously, you're trying to compete, but you want to put as many of those type of kids around you as possible. Now, after that, I mean, anything can spark. Even having those things, you're still going to run into issues of disagreements. It's basically, to me, at least in my opinion, it's how you handle those disagreements. And you never talk about somebody else's kid. You know, if little Johnny isn't playing because little Joey's having 6 errors, I'm not going to talk about another kid's child to another parent. Does that make sense?
Can we start that? I mean, can we repeat that? Is if another kid makes an error and it's not your kid, you shouldn't be saying anything to begin with, even if it is your kid. Can we stop that bull about
yeah, I mean, so that's the very first meeting I had with my parents, and they can tell you this year was, if you have a disagreement of playing time, you're more than welcome to give me a day. Let's talk about it. Let me get some notes, practice notes, stats, anything I need to get to. We'll have a conversation. Usually when a day goes by, everything kind of mellows out a little bit. The immediate impact of the frustration is kind of gone at this point. But the other thing is, if you're coming in here to talk about somebody else's kid and making errors, I'm not having it. That's the end of discussion. We're over it. We're not talking about it. It's not going to happen. And as long as you stick to that, that helps. But having a plan also helps. Having a disagreement inside of a gym, it's never good for anybody. You always want to try to avoid those things.
What good do you think comes of having that conversation about somebody else's kid? EB,
it doesn't.
I mean, is there anything that can come positively out of that other than just saying we're not going to discuss this, like Billy said?
No, I mean, what would come good out of it? If I'm going to sit here and talk about little Sally Joe over there to another person, then all I'm doing is adding fuel to the fire. I kind of have a rule that I've always go by, especially with coaching. If you have a disagreement or you don't like the way that I do something or you're upset and it's on a day that we have games, 24 hours before we talk about it. Because cooler heads always prevail, first of all. If you're going to talk to me about something, especially after a game, whether it's win, loss, and no matter what, whether it's AAU, high school, rec league or anything, like emotions are still high and you haven't had a chance to conceptualize it. So I'm a fan of the 24-hour rule. And then I'm with Billy. Like, I'm not going to sit here and talk about your playing skills to someone else's parents. Like it has nothing to do with them. And to me, all that does is incite more ammunition for them to, one, turn around and go to those people and say, well, so-and-so said this about you. So now you're actually painting yourself in a corner. And you're not accomplishing anything. Like no one likes the truth sometimes because it's either hard to say or it's hard to take. Well, eventually you're going to have to come to terms with it. And whether that's, give enough bullshit to where you have to get there and you have to come across it, it's going to suck. Or you kick it in its teeth up front and you deal with what happens. That's life in general, not just sports, but that's life. Like, no one wants to hear the bad news or anything about that. But some of this also stems from, too, is realistic expectations for your child. Understand realistic expectations. I am around, and this is on the basketball side, but I'm around a lot of people who have some very, very good basketball teams. And everyone wants to be there or, have that situation. But, you might not be that type of player or that type of person. So if you're going to try to jump on or you get an invite with that team, have a realistic expectation. Yeah, the most important part or the biggest thing that you're pulling from that team is that you get to practice with them. It's not that you get to practice with them and you get to say you're a part of the team. That doesn't mean that you're going to actually, produce or do anything for the team. So you have to have a realistic expectation for your child. Sometimes it's better to be, the big fish in a small pond, small fish in a big pond, however you want to dice it up. But it's just coming down to having realistic expectations, not what you want, not what you saw, not what you were in high school, not what you did in the 70s, 80s, 90s, so on. Realistic expectations for your kid. And maybe they like art. That's perfect.
I think a lot of times, Eric, it's not just parents, it's guardians, it's family, friends. They're living through they're living through the athlete, right, or the student athlete, and with those, when I was at Newton Falls, I was this, and now you're coming up, and that's the expectation, and this is the bar, and my name is so and so. I mean, I hear it not often, but it's enough. It's too much, right? That's kind of where it was. Is I'm so and so, and I went here, so I expect this, and I should get special treatment. My kids should play short because that's where I played, or I played in the minors, or I umpired at minor league stadium, or broadcast for minor league stadium. So those are things I think we need to.
Well, yeah, and also, a lot of these people will forget, just because you play a club sport does not entitle you that you're like the next level player. I deal with many, and I mean many, many, many athletes who they just want to be good or they want to get better. And I'll look at them and say that is perfectly okay. Like, you are allowed to do that. This does not mean you have to get to go, try to make the college or put some sort of expectation on yourself that really is just going to probably hurt you more than anything. And there's also a second part of that. If you are getting college looks or something like that, and you get 10 college offers, 9 of them are D3 and 1 of them is D2, you're not a D1 player. You're a D3 player. So don't sit there and say, well, I'm only searching for D1 looks. Hey, bud, I hate to break it to you, but if every D3 school is after you, and maybe there's an outlier of a D2 and not one D1, you are not a blue chip recruit. I promise you that much. So the expectations kind of lie into things too as well.
Here's a couple comments from coaches. Darren Miller saying we should live by the power of the quote I statements and keep others out of your mouth. I like that. And also we look at Coach Seidel, who's on the road right now to Ysn Park. My rule, I will not talk to you about playing time within 24 hours of the start or finish of games. Conversation will only include your kid. So, kind of the same thing that we've been going after. Alec, when you look at this, 2 coaches talking about it, do you agree with those statements?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. There's absolutely no reason for you'd be bringing up someone else's kid. Like, it's not necessary. Like, yeah, I mean, that's the end of it, really. Like, you should, if you're upset about something, you shouldn't bring up someone else's, It's just common sense to me, I guess.
Well, and I think we're living, and I hate to say this, I feel old when I say this, we're not living in a world of common sense anymore. We're living in a world of, I'm going to do whatever's best for me in my root interest. And whether that's a kid or a niece or a nephew or whatever it is, you're going to defend them. So I'm going to put this up with an asterisk, right? So this is obviously my mom. There's a cute picture of me and Coach right there. My rule was, if I thought that I knew more than the coach, I'd be the coach. As a parent, my job was to cheer on our team and pay for the ice cream after. Now, let me put this into perspective, because my mom didn't do this very often. She was always down the third base side or first base side or whatever side the dugout was on, and she'd have the cowbell, which is not appropriate for baseball, but she still had it out there. I was 10 years old, and there was a play at the plate. I did not slide. I just ran across the plate, and the umpire called me out. He said, if there's a play at the plate, you have to slide. And my mom, who was a scorekeeper at the time, went nuts. Like ballistic nuts, and made me go nuts, because kids see what parents are okay with, right? So my mom was upset and she was causing a scene, so I caused a scene on top of that, threw my helmet, all this stuff, because I could. Because it's when you're 10 years old, it's upstaging, right? Yeah. You meet that level and you have to go one extra. I'm paying for it right now with the girls at 4 years old already, but that's what kids think. So if you get frustrated, your kid is going to get 110% more of where you're at. So parents realize this, that as mad as your kid gets, you don't have to excel past that. You don't have to break the thermometer and go 110% past that. You have the ability to actually nip it in the bud and teach them how to be an adult and make adult decisions at that point, wherever they're at, whether it's 10 years old, whether it's 30 years old. You can still, as a parent, as a mentor, influence their decisions. And I think that's one thing that people forget is parents get so upset because we talked about it before the show and in the pre-show. Parents feel like they're entitled because they paid X amount of dollars, right? Yeah. It costs $500 to play baseball. My kid, I gave you $500. Listen, that's a choice. Right. That $500 entitles you to a spot on the team, and that's it. It does not entitle you to a starting spot. It doesn't entitle you to the leadoff spot. It doesn't entitle you to the point guard, the starting quarterback. None of that. And I think we've got it twisted along the way.
At the end of the day, it's still sports and it's still a competition. So you got to earn your spot, and I don't think everyone gets that.
We need a T-shirt. Stop entitlement in sports.
No.
No. All right. Well, I mean, from someone who works for a club organization to someone who also helps, like you said, you choose to pay that. There's multiple other organizations out there too, and you can go to these other organizations. That doesn't mean it's going to change the outcome. Like, what if you go to an organization and it's worse, but it's a quote unquote better organization? So now you're just doing it to name drop, just to say, well, DJ's on XYZ team. They play for national championships, or they travel to these locations and they win tournaments. Okay. How's he playing? How's he doing? Oh, well, he doesn't really play. So now you're just like that was a choice for you to put that person on that team just to say you were affiliated with it. Or you can go to, Alex All-Stars, and, Alec might be a smaller organization where he plays a ton, but they don't win on the national level as much. Where's the kid going to get a better, not only experience, but where are they going to get more bang for your buck? It's a choice that you choose. It's not like a monopolized situation where you're like, hey, you have to go here. This is what you do. And it's like anything else. When you play for a high school or anything, you earn those spots. Like, you earn your stripes. Same thing in club.
Isn't it weird that, EB, that every time you don't get your way, naturally it's political? Everybody says, oh, it's just politics. It's just the coach's kid is the quarterback or the shortstop or the pitcher or the point guard. Like, what happened to, okay, I want to be a point guard. And again, this conversation makes me feel old because I feel like the older people had this conversation when we were growing up. But it's only gotten worse. Whatever happened to, okay, I'm going to be the starter, I'm going to bust my ass, and I'm going to prove that I'm capable of being the starter.
Well, DJ, instead, the idea is that dad takes an AAU team and creates his own AAU team and puts their kid there.
There it is. Because
that's the alternative.
Because tournaments are in it for what? Tournaments are in it for money. And that's a business. But by starting these travel teams and starting and trying to take people away, and I get it, it's a recruiting thing for them too. But at some point, the cream will rise to the top, does it not?
Absolutely. I mean, you can start your own team and you'll phase out in 3 to 4 years, or in 2 years, you'll be like, yeah, I tried to do this. We had to go back in because it was too tough. There was more into it than I actually thought. It'd be like someone who, if I would branch off and I'd try and form EBSN, and I'd be like,
you better not.
Eventually, after 2 years, I'd be like, man, there's a lot of work into this, sleepless, countless hours that people don't account for. I'd be like, DJ, can I just come in with you? This is what I can bring. You're going to rise back to the top. Same thing with these larger organizations. If you branch off and try to do your own thing, like, it's not going to hurt them. I promise. They're built because someone along the way shoveled the shit to make it happen.
That's part of it, right? It's
right.
We're a farming area around here in the majority of Columbiana County. We know that you got to shovel shit in somebody's barn in order to get your next level, in order to rise up the ladder. You don't know, and it's everywhere you look, and I think we've gotten away from that. So you pay $500, you pay $1,000, and it's worse with the more money that there is, right?
Well,
so if it's $1,000 team, you sit there and you go, well, wait a minute. I paid you $1,000. Well, yeah, but this is what you're getting. Where did you see playing time along that check sheet? It's not there. And if it is, shame on you.
Billy could probably attest to this. Quinn could attest to this. I'll attest to this. Anyone who's played a sport, especially club sport, sometimes I'll sit there and say, hey, maybe we're not a fit for you. That doesn't mean I'm not in your corner. It's not saying I can't eat or you can't eat. You just can't eat at my table. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's plenty of girls that I coach, not only in high school or that I've coached before, this year, where they joined other organizations. Look, I'm still cheering for you. I still want the best for you. We just weren't a good fit for each other. And that's life. That's how it's going to work sometimes.
And that's the crazy part. I mean, I see these kids, on the day that MLB The Show is released officially to the public, if you didn't buy the early edition, there's millions of kids that are playing this baseball game right now, and they should be out taking cuts. It's a beautiful day. It's going to snow tomorrow. And instead of doing that, they're doing this. And listen, I'm all for esports. I am. But you can't do this in April and expect to start in May.
Right.
It just can't happen like that.
Work ethic is still a thing.
And that's where I get lost. I get frustrated. And I know we're coming off very preachy today on the Tuesday Power Hour, but reality is the work ethic has taken a hit. Some people, and they'll always have it. Sometimes it's passed on genetically. It's passed on through, wherever, from mom or dad or both, or brother or sister or both. But you look at where we're at right now, and it's just not a good place. I mean, people shooting people up over playing time. Like, don't just go to the coach and say, what can I do to get better to start? Like, attack him, follow him into the parking lot, assault him, so he pulls a gun on you and shoots you.
This is ironic. It's not funny, ironic. Because last night I had a conversation with a young lady, and she's upset about her playing time. And she asked me, she goes, what do I need to do? Or your coach, how would you want me to come and approach you? And I said, it's really simple. Go up to the coach. I said, see how this week goes, okay? After Friday, if you're still unhappy, go up to the coach and be like, hey, coach, when you get a minute, can I have a couple minutes of your time? I'd like to talk to you. And she said, okay, well, what do I say then? I said, just ask coach, hey, what can I do to get on the field more? And then wait for that response. And then what that coach says is going to dictate, one, how valuable you are to them, or sometimes what happens is you just get lost, and it's by accident. It's not on purpose. Because if somebody came to me like with that type of questioning, I would go, am I not giving her a fair shot? Is she not on the field? And then I would have to go back and check. I goes, oh man, I did. I haven't given her. So then I go around and say, all right, I got to give her an opportunity, at least in the next game or coming up games, to show me what she's got, and then go from there. I mean, a lot of times coaches will make that adjustment if the player goes up. I always say it's always better for the player, and I could be completely wrong with this, but as a coach, I would much rather have a player come up to me and let's talk about playing time than a parent. To me, it seems it goes further.
Yeah, the parent thing, it's still, I don't get it. The parent, if a parent comes up to, and I'm a coach, I've been a coach at multiple levels, never obviously at the varsity level like some of you guys, but you sit there and you go, okay, well, if a parent comes up to you, it's never what can my kid do for more. And I'm not trying to point the finger at the parents. It's never that calm of a conversation. It's, if you don't play my kid, we're either going to take him elsewhere or he's going to quit. And then I'm taking your name to the school board or the director of what, like again, coaches are not bad people. And I'm not going to say that all coaches are great. I'm not going to say that paint a broad brush and say that all coaches are not there to flex their muscles, so to speak, because there's bad people in everything, right? There's bad people in media, there's bad people, name it. But those are the few and far between. And I think, especially now, we categorize everybody with one bad experience. Like, most coaches are there because they either have a kid in the system and they want to make sure that, and like, quite honestly, this is where I think it's hilarious, because most parents who end up as coaches, especially in the high school level in some capacity, coach their kid all the way up. And not necessarily so they start, but because nobody else wanted to. These volunteer positions, so to speak, there's not a mass of people just raising their hand saying, yeah, I'll do it. But baseball, for example, there's a critics row right down the third or first base line, and they are looking at you with laser vision, and everything you do, it better be on point, and their kid better be the next Mike Trout or the next Jenny Finch or whatever. Let's take a breath and realize, again, not everybody, very rarely, is your kid going to go pro. And I hate to be that guy, and I try to be as positive as I can, but let's celebrate what they're doing right now. Let's not look 20 years ahead and every at-bat is setting them up for, going one-on-one with a Cy Young candidate. Like, just take a breath. Enjoy your kid at 10. Enjoy your kid at 4 or 5 when they're in T-ball because it's fun. It's when they learn the game and the foundations. Enjoy your kid when they're in Pop Warner football. And it's funny because the helmets are bigger than they are and they're just bobbleheads. Take those pictures.
You're right, man. I mean, like last year, it's funny because I was waiting for this all to happen, like where it all imploded again. Because last year, everything got taken away from us, and people appreciated things no matter what happened last summer and fall. Like, hey, at least we're playing. At least we're playing. Now we're starting to get back to some sense of normalcy, and now you're getting those people who are like, they're just on edge, like it's on steroids, like they've actually missed out on a year, and like they need to go extra hard, dude. What's going to be is going to be, no matter how crazy your parents are or how crazy they aren't. Like it comes down to you. It's that's all it is. You don't need mom
My kid
and dad.
got cheated. My kid got cheated. That's what this is all turned in from last year of, oh, if only we had prom, if only we had this, if only we had, and then now it is, like you said, it is a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, right?
Look.
Because it's, well, those curtains don't match the color of the tables for prom, and this, like, my kid deserves this because, like, this is no lie. Everybody saw the Columbiana Clippers go to PNC Park last Friday, right? We announced it. We did the game. I got a message of a parent that was angry at us because we didn't put their team in PNC Park. We had nothing to do with it. That was Columbiana.
Wait. Somebody called and complained that YSN didn't put their high school team at PNC Park.
Because we had something to do with that. And then I got a repeat message. I got a repeat message on Sunday from that same person that was upset that Columbiana, we were favoring Columbiana out of everybody too much. Now, keep in mind, Columbiana played Lisbon on Sunday at Canal Park, right? Another YSN school, both of which we're very proud to have, just as we are the other 44. But I will tell you this, it's never just be happy for another person or another team or a situation. And I don't want to point to this as just bad, because we had so many people saying, what an experience, what a fantastic, especially for Matt and myself, but for the team especially, it was what a great opportunity. Ryan Wolf has really set it up, and the entire, the AD, the superintendent, they were praising Columbiana, but there's always that one, right? That is, why doesn't my kid get to play at PNC Park? Why doesn't my kid
I can't believe School X won a state championship and you did their game.
I just don't get it. It's never like, be happy for other people. Like is there a level of jealousy if I was in their shoes? If I was another team and they go, heck yeah, because that's PNC Park. That's, like I said, the creme de la creme. But you're still like happy for those kids. You're happy for man, that'd be awesome to play there one day. But we've turned from that'd be great to, well, why do they get to play and I don't? Why? This is a bad look. That's a bad, and that's honestly, that's how I replied. I said, this is a bad message. I would highly encourage you to, re-energize yourself and re-energize and change the way of your thinking and just be happy for the kids. And it was,
look, man, some of these kids, I can't say what I want to say, but some of these MFers need a vacation or something. Like go F and do something, because you're not getting prom back. You're not getting all that shit from last year back. be happy with what you got now. Like, quit worrying about what hasn't happened. Like, if I would have studied a little bit more in college, I probably would have came out with a degree and not $75,000 worth of debt. That's on me. I'm not going to worry about what didn't happen. It didn't happen. So I still had to, deal with what was in front of me. Nut up or shut up, man. Like, it's quit always trying to find someone else to blame for your misery.
That's perfect. Darren Miller has been on point today, and Coach has been chiming in as well. But this is the one I always believe in. High tide raises all boats. I've said that for years now. And, personally, and this is part of my beef, personally, people always think that I'm faking it whenever I'm talking about positivity and, putting people on a pedestal. That's real. That's as real as it gets. Like, that's who I am. Like, I would do anything for any of you guys and any of you watching. That's just who I am and what I do. I'm not shoving that down your throat, but that's just who I am. And the thing that drives me nuts is, instead of trying to act more like people, like the people you look up to, people just, like, you're the leak in the boat. You're the plug is gone, and you're just letting water into the boat, and you're gonna let everybody else, control your situation. And that's nuts. Like, parents get that in their mind, like, so young now. Like, it used to be like high school, okay, my kid is going to go to this school, and then if they want to go to play baseball, fantastic. And we had a lot of that. But I think, and I did a victory lap on this, we put so much expectation on the minute they pick up a baseball bat or a basketball or a football, that's what they're going to do for the rest of their life. Because of the millions and millions of dollars. Like, the percentages are so small. You have a better chance of being an astronaut. You have a better chance of being, getting hit by lightning. Nobody roots for that. Why is that? So it's crazy. But
because it doesn't give me superpowers, DJ. Damn it.
They don't know you. Coach Miller, he's the man. All right, well, let's take it into, we've beefed this entire time. So, but I think it's been a productive show, Alec. Let's take it to the G. Berbick Farms studio for the G. Berbick Farms What's Your Beef, What's Your Filet, brought to you, of course, by our friends down in New Buffalo Road in Columbiana, G. Berbick Farms. Take it away, Kat.
Well, my beef, as we were talking, is that this conversation needs to be had. The beef is that this conversation's come to a point where it needs to be had, and more often than not, a lot more than it should be talked about. My fillet, though, is that there seems to be a consensus that we all have the same idea here, and that hopefully, knock on wood, that in due time, we won't need to have this conversation anymore.
I hope so. Brother. EB, what do you have for your beef and filet or filet?
Yeah, it's kind of following up with Alec, and it's not a beef, it's not a filet, so I'm just going to call it a steak. And my stake on all this is, like not only high school sports, but club sports, any sports, no matter what age level, we need to do better. And it's from parents to all around. If you're a fan, we just need to do better. It should never come to a situation to where people are being followed to cars, or even as an adult, you're getting thrown out of these games, or, afterwards you're jumping up and you're screaming across a court or the field to, essentially call someone out to entice a fight or anything. Look, at the end of the day, it's a sport. And I tell my girls this all the time, no matter what happens on this court, you're still going to go home. You're still going to have a roof over your head. You're going to get a meal, have your phone. You're going to get to play on TikTok, Instagram, all this stuff. So control your variables that you can control right now, because when it's all said and done, everything's going to be okay. So we just need to do better collectively as a whole. And it's not pointing out to any single group or anything like that. I think it's just us, maybe as a generation or as people in general. We just need to, one, be more uplifting and realize that, anything sport-wise right now, it's for the kids. It's not about us. So we need to do better as being fans and supportive for these people than anything.
Mac, what do you got?
I'm going to go with a simple. I'm not going to hit this home. I already said my piece on the incident at Sandusky and that kind of thing. So I'm going to go with this ridiculous 3 inches of snow we're supposed to get. It's April. Spring break has happened for a lot of schools, so we're trying to play baseball and softball right now, and they're talking about snow. So almost every game will be canceled in the Valley tomorrow, which is disappointing in a season we're trying to get games in. So we'll go home snow. Ohio, you're drunk.
Can I just interject for a second before Quinn goes and say one of my fillets has got to be how good that beard looks right now? My man has a good-looking beard. That is the best beard at YSN, and I don't care who knows it. Quinn, what do you got?
I don't have any beef today. I've got filet, and it's with the great facility that we're at. It's the only place that we've been with perfect service.
Hey, thanks for tuning in today for Quinn Pushkar, everybody.
I got an idea.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's do this since it's live. Quinn, let's do this. If our teams ever play again, can we make a bet that if my team beats yours, you have to shave your beard? If your team beats mine, I will buy you, I don't know, a month's worth of Mountain Dew.
That's fine.
2 months. That beard's going to take 2 months to get back.
No, it won't. It'll take 2 weeks.
Okay, screw it.
Yeah, deal.
Deal? It's all, dun, 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 dun.
Welcome to sports betting, Ohio.
Good thing our tournament's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we'll just go back in the parking lot of the state line, and we can bet all we want. All right, let's. Mine's kind of go along the lines of your guys'. Just 2 words: be better. Be better. And this isn't. We've blasted the parents a lot today, and listen, some of them deserve it. 1 out of 3 parents complains about playing time. So basically, if you're in a line of parents and you look to your left and look to your right, one of the 3 of you is complaining about your kid's playing time and has brought it up to a coach or an athletic director or somebody along those lines. We've got to be better. Coaches, goes for you too. From a standpoint of, when did we forget this is about the kids? When did we forget that this is about their legacy, what they're trying to do? Coaches, you have your own niche carved out for you. You know what you're trying to do, and the good ones and the great ones know exactly what I'm talking about. Because if you make it about the kids, those 300 wins, those 500 wins, those 700 wins, 1,000 wins that you're looking for to get your name up in lights, those will come. But you have to make it about the right people, and those people are the kids. So, when I see that coaches are running up pitch counts and we're playing 20-inning games and stuff like that, and it doesn't do anything for the kids. It doesn't do anything good for them. So, remember what the message is that you translate to recruit these kids to play for you in the first place. Don't just say it and be about it and talk about it. You actually have to follow that up with action. So make sure that that everything you do, whether you're a parent, you're a coach, whether you're a player, that there's action to it. And it's not just this, because this is getting old. This is getting very old for everybody, and it's causing all kinds of grief, like the stuff we saw in Sandusky. And I'm at the very, very foundational level. I'm sure it all started with talk. So hopefully that we can all just do 2 things, 2 words rather, and just be better. So that's going to put a wrap on our show for Tuesday, Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. We will see you tomorrow. I'll be in studio here. I think everybody will be on, because it sounds like we're going to be ripped by Jack Frost one more time before it's all said and done. So make sure you stay up to date on your Storm Tracker 21 weather app. And of course, if you have the chance, hang on, let me pull this up before we go. Head on over to, where is it? This. You can check these out, these babies, these Blue Winx glasses that I've had for about 2 months now. They're awesome. Just go to bluewinx.com/YSN and use code YSNLive10 for 10% off your entire order. Make sure you use that code to get the 10% off your entire order. Buy them for the whole family. You know you want them. You would never go play football without a helmet. Why are you looking and watching our show without your own Blue Winx? That's going to do it. We'll see you tomorrow right here, 3 to 4 on the Power Hour on YSN. See you later.